depressing image. But this is a far more depressing sight. Okay, let's imagine you've just got off a red-eye flight, 16 hours from Europe, you're in some nameless city in Asia, you need to get to your bed because you've got a meeting in 3 hours, you're checking into your hotel, and you see this. So this is a queue at a check-in in a hotel, and the reason for this queue is there's some young kid on the desk photocopying passports. Why? Why? To check that you're the person you said you are, so that he can register you in a database that no one's ever going to check, right? So what's the point of this verification process? He's not qualified to determine that that's the right ID. And has he ever denied anybody? No. It's a completely fruitless process that we all go through in many walks of our life. We'll come back to this in a minute. Let's look at this problem in another way. So for those who don't know, and I think some of you do know her, this is Husna, who's my driver in Bombay. And she's a bit more than a driver to me. She's kind of my guardian angel. Husna is very tech savvy, as you can see. She has a Facebook page. I've cropped it a bit to, give her some privacy, and me, actually. And Husna is also on Gmail. She's on WhatsApp. Actually, that's her preferred form of communication. She sends me dirty jokes all day long. And she should be on Twitter, because she's really funny. Her status update this morning was, "We live in an era of smartphones and stupid people," which is brilliant. So I'm going to open a Twitter account for her. But seriously, Husna is an amazing, amazing woman. She lives in a one-room, 10-foot by 10-foot trawl in Bombay with her 2 kids, who she brings up single-handedly, with her 2 sisters and her mother, who she also supports. She supports the entire family, and amazingly well. She hosted one of the most beautiful, lavish weddings I've ever been to last year for her younger sister, Nazia. And she funded the wedding as the main breadwinner in the family. At the time, and I didn't know this because she told me subsequently, she needed about 1 lakh. And so she went round to a group of banks in Bombay and applied for a personal loan. And she got declined. By 5 banks, she got declined because she did not have appropriate KYC. And by that, they ideally wanted a passport, they wanted a PAN card, they wanted a driver's license, proof of identity. They also needed quite detailed proof of address, which is just not possible where she lives. You should see where she lives. And in the end, she borrowed from a local guy in her area who is charging her 180% on that loan. Now, I am not going to plug what I do for a day job, but I work for a company, like lots of companies in the world, that believe this concept of physical KYC is completely meaningless. And that in this digital age, and this is a great example, we all leave such a trace of information about ourselves on the internet and in digital databases that the concept of photocopying passports is completely inane. There are many companies like us. We're not the only ones. So why in India do we still find ourselves photocopying passports and carrying around pages and pages of ID? And that's, a funny problem for us, but I hope you can see for someone like Husna, it's a kind of game-changing problem. Let's just look at that in a bit more detail. So, pop quiz, everybody. We all know the population of India. How many people in India have a passport? Shout it out. Some 10. 2. Wow, okay, very cynical people here. Anyone up on that? That's more like it. You'll be shocked to hear it's 50. But 50, right, out of 1.3 billion. And that has not changed very much in the last 10 years. And so it's not going to be like 200 million anytime soon. Let's be realistic. Driving license, that should be a lot more common, right? How many driving license in India? What do people think? 200, very good. 200, it's about 200 today. And that, will grow from here. But again, it's never going to cover even half the population, probably. PAN card, right? The PAN card, everyone has a PAN card. It's how you pay tax Yeah, so it's actually gone up dramatically. In the last 3 years, it's gone from 60 to 100. Great, but I just don't think it's going to go much further. So these are the traditional forms of KYC that banks in India adore. And you can see they're just not widely distributed. So the Husnas of the world will continue. Ironically, I've just put some more funny numbers there, but how many people have a mobile in India? We all know. Right, it's somewhere between 600 and 700. More subs, but there are duplicates. And a Facebook account, everyone should know this? Yeah, it just came out this year, 82 million. So just check that. Passport, 50 million. Facebook, 82. And I am saying I can tell 100 times more about you and your identity from your Facebook account than I can from your passport. Interesting. Oh, and then what's that at the bottom? Aadhaar number. Anyone know how many Aadhaar numbers have been issued today? Actually, you're 1 month behind. 413. It's been a great year. It was 270 in January, and it's 413 now. So I was doing that. Da-da! Aadhaar. So, and this is the point of my concept, my vision. Aadhaar is the future of identity. And I know we could sit here and bitch and moan and say, what about data security? And we're all being conned, and it's terribly insecure, and it doesn't work, and blah, blah, blah. But I just want to step back from all the noise, because I think in that debate and the many debates, everybody forgets what was the real purpose of this and the vision. And the vision is this man, and I'm sure we've all seen him speak. And if you haven't, YouTube him tonight. When he speaks about this topic, it's your hairs tingle in the back of your neck. Like every great leader, he had a great, great vision. And his vision was not just access, right? It was to give access to people to enter into the systems and the society that we all experience. But it was also to do something, I think Rajesh said earlier, to do what India does great, which is leapfrog. This was a chance for India to do something that no other country in the world has been brave enough to do, which is to create a completely digital, online, instant, automated, paperless way of recording people's identity. Nowhere in the world does that exist in this way. And boldly, not just in terms of data, but biometrics. And no matter what you say about biometrics, to have the iris scans and full fingerprint of 430 million people on record is phenomenal. And it's working very well, by the way, in many countries' immigration processes. Biometrics is actually more successful than we give it credit for. So I just want to kind of go back to basics, think about what he imagined Aadhaar doing, because I do think we've all forgotten that. It's all become a little bit cumbersome, it's a bit depressing, we focus on the enrollment plan. And by the way, he never expected full coverage. 100% was not the deal. He said he'd be really satisfied that it had worked if we got to 500 million. And I think we might be there before the end of the year. But let's just think about, what does it really do? What does Aadhaar solve? So we know this story, right? I think we've heard this before. It helps these people get access. Access is the key thing. Access to goods and services and products that we can't give them in any other way because they don't have traditional KYC. But it also helps leapfrog many other countries by creating new products and services.
1 minute left.
That can use it. But it also helps everybody else. And this is the really important thing to remember that gets forgotten. It can solve this. There's a really cool software app out there waiting to be built that allows instant fingerprint check-in to hotels. Why not? Fantastic. And this, what about that feeling at the airport when you've forgotten the piece of paper and you have to do that like hour-long negotiation with this guy? Why can't he have a fingerprint reader? He could. That's software somebody can build right now. So this is my plea to you, my final plea. Number one, enroll. Have a look there, look at the numbers, let's get it up. Mumbai particularly, you're at 37%, which is pathetic. Delhi's at 89. Goa's at 90. But number two, if you have a business that touches consumers, think about how you can make your onboarding or enrollment process in any element better by using this instant online digital database. And thirdly, to any of the entrepreneurs out there that are looking for business plans, I have about 58 in my head right now that all come off this platform that nobody is working on. This should be the seeding ground for some of the most innovative businesses in the world that can only be tested in this market. So think about it. Go away, come up with some plans, and if you need some ideas, I've got many.